Good morning, everybody. It is Weather with Sim again. I hope you guys are all having a great day so far. And in today's video, we're going to be going over these severe weather threats. We still got an enhanced risk continuing for the rest of this morning. And we even got another enhanced risk that is going to be for today. We're going to be going over those, and we'll even be going over the wind threats and things like that. So make sure to stay tuned for that. But first of all, we're going to go ahead and show you guys the enhanced risk that's likely to continue until about 7 a.m. Central Time. This is a pretty big enhanced risk. As you can see, it includes Shreveport heading towards Little Rock, so it is definitely a decent enhanced risk across that area. Pretty small though, but I would still be aware of this, with a tornado threat being probably the most life-threatening hazard. We do also have a hatch risk, which means there is a 10% chance of EF2 tornadoes or greater, so that could be possible across that area. While your wind threat, you do have a 30% chance, and then pretty much just east of it, that hatch risk actually is kind of off it, at least it doesn't include all the red part. It mainly includes just like a quarter of the red part. So if you do live in Little Rock, I would still be aware of some possible damaging winds, because you guys are in a hatch risk. But even back in the 30% chance, we even could see damaging wind there's too. And then hail threat, you do have a chance for large hail, mainly across Arkansas, southeast Oklahoma, heading into portions of northern Texas. I would definitely watch this very closely, so make sure to keep that in mind. And we're going to go ahead and show you guys the Climate Prediction Center outlook. So on the 6 to 10 day outlook, we continue to stay below average for a pretty good portion of the United States. West Coast seeing some pretty good above average temperatures, mainly across California. But if we look at the precipitation, as you guys can see, we continue to stay below average. And then even back into portions of California, Montana, and Wyoming, we see a good chance for above average precipitation there. And then even getting into southern Florida and southern Texas, also a chance for above average. Now the 8 to 14 day outlook, we continue to see below average temperatures for the eastern United States. We continue to stay above for the western United States. And then for the precipitation, we continue to stay below, and we continue to stay above. So I mean, it's kind of typical with El Nino. Besides, I guess New England would have been wetter than drier, but it's still in that below average. So we'll have to see about this, okay? But I did want to show you guys that we do have a high risk for well below average temperatures, mainly across places like Illinois, Kentucky, Tennessee, heading into Missouri, and as well as Indiana. So I definitely would be aware about that if you do live in those areas. All other hazards like the precipitation mainly stays south and west. The snowfall outlook stays up to the north and mainly in the mountains area. And then your wind threat, you do have a chance for damaging winds across mainly New England. So we'll have to really watch that closely. And now, for excessive rainfall outlook for day 1, we actually do have a threat for flash flooding across New England. This heads from Boston, Massachusetts, all the way down into Virginia. And if we zoom in, this does include Charlottesville, so I would definitely be aware from Boston all the way down to Charlottesville. So if you do live in those areas, I would definitely be aware of this. This also includes the populated cities, New York, Philadelphia, Washington, maybe even getting into Baltimore. Annapolis. So I would definitely watch these areas very closely. And we even got these two marginal risks. We got a small one back here in the California and Oregon, and then we got this big one across Indiana, Kentucky, Illinois, and then even portions of Kentucky and even Tennessee. Then on day 2, we still see a decent threat for flash flooding, maybe mainly across across New England, but look at this, guys. We actually do have a slight risk for flash flooding across California, so that will be something to really keep an eye on if you do live in there. And then on day 3, that kind of gets to the point where we don't see much in the way of excessive rainfall, but then on day 4, which I am right now, we actually are seeing a pretty good threat for flash flooding. And if you guys do hear any bangs, that actually is the rain. It's actually raining here in Evansville, Indiana. So if you guys want to know about if it's raining in your area, like if you live in Evansville, Indiana, it's currently raining right now, and that's what all the bangs are if you hear it. But even if you don't, that's fine, but I hear it though. And now if we look at your guys' alerts, as you guys can see, we actually do have a few areas of high wind warnings. We're going to go ahead and circle those areas for you. So we got one across Illinois, Indiana, and even western Kentucky, mainly across the tri-state area right here. We got another area of high winds mainly across the Appalachian Mountains, across this whole area right here. This area could definitely see up to 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. We even got a few more areas like this one that could see some high winds, so we'll have to keep an eye on that too. And then even back through parts of the Great Lakes region, mainly across New York and Ohio, we are really seeing those high winds kick in, so we'll have to really watch that closely too. But these 4 areas are really seeing all the high wind warnings, so we'll really have to watch very closely. So yeah, we'll have to watch. And even back through Texas, actually. Wow, are you kidding me? Even more high wind warnings in effect for portions of Texas. And I mean, it's kind of typical for Texas anyway. We actually do have some fire warnings in effect for Texas, which I don't think is very typical for this time of year, especially because it's winter. We don't usually see fires during the winter, but we even got a tornado watch in effect for Arkansas, Texas, Oklahoma, Louisiana, so we'll have to pay attention to that too. And then we do have a blizzard warning in effect for southern Idaho, heading into a little bit of Wyoming, but even back through portions of almost all of Iowa actually, and then even a few isolated blizzard warnings in effect too as well. So we really have to pay attention to that. So we got a lot of alerts to talk about, but we're not going to go over all of them because that's what it took and too long. And now we're going to go ahead and go over your guys' radar now, and with the European model. And as you guys see, this low pressure continues to get lower, and then it continues to gain strength as it moves out. We'll see kind of another storm move in that may bring some light snowfall to parts of the Ohio Valley. Then as that finally heads out, we see another storm move through that may have to be watched, because just look how big that is. So we'll have to really pay attention to that. And then with your guys' total snowfall, as you guys can see, we're heading 156 hours out, which heads all the way to January 18. And as you guys see, pretty big area across the Rocky Mountains having at least a foot of snow. Even the Salt Lake City Valley could even see as high as 22 inches of snowfall. That's pretty crazy right there, guys. That could definitely bring some extreme impacts to parts of those areas. And then even back into parts of the Great Lakes region like Michigan, northern Indiana, heading into Chicago, and then back through Milwaukee, we are definitely seeing those snowfall totals really get up there, so we'll have to really pay attention to that, so make sure to be aware about that. And now for your total precipitation, as you guys can see, pretty big area of at least 1 to 3 inches, mainly across Wisconsin, Illinois, Indiana. So if we circle this in, this whole area could at least see 1 to 3 inches, so we're going to have to pay attention to that. We're going to say 1 to 3 inches of rainfall, so we're going to have to pay attention to that area. And then even back to parts of New England could even see some pretty good rainfall too as well. This is another 1 to 3 inches for rainfall, and we even had that slight risk for flash flooding across that area, so we'll definitely have to pay attention to that. And then even back to Oregon and California, it looks like that has already gotten bigger, but even back to California and Oregon, Oregon, we are really seeing those rainfall totals ramp up quite a bit. So this is another 1 to 3 inches, maybe 1 to 5 inches actually. Yeah, 1 to 5 inches. So that's quite a bit of rain there. So we'll have to watch closely. But these are the 3 areas we have to watch very closely, especially California, because they did have a slight risk for flash flooding there. But still, even back to parts of the Ohio Valley, Great Lakes region, and even Midwest we'll have to watch, and then even back to parts of the East Coast we'll have to watch. Now, we're going to go ahead and look at the GFS model now. We're not going to look at the precipitation or the total snowfall with the GFS model this time, but we're still going to be at least talking about the radar and stuff like that. So as we continue to take this forward, as you guys see, we continue to see heavy rain and storms across the Ohio Valley, turning back to snowfall and very heavy snowfall as it moves through New England. And as that finally heads out, we'll kind of see another potential snowstorm moving through that could bring light snow to the Ohio Valley. So that will have to be something we got to keep an eye on there, and even some freezing rain down here to the south. And then as that finally heads out as a nor'easter, we'll start to see maybe some more isolated snowfall across these areas. So as you guys can see, it kind of moves this way like this. Let me go ahead and draw this so you guys can see it kind of heads like this, as you guys can see it, and it kind of connects together. I might have to move this a little bit, so I apologize, guys, but okay. Oh, okay. I see. So, yes, it does come together like that, and then it kind of pushes down to the south like that, as you guys can probably see. And then at the very end of it, we may have to watch some more possible storm systems moving through. So yeah, we'll have to really watch closely. But thank you guys very much for watching. Hope you guys did enjoy this video. Hope you guys do stay safe from a bunch of these high winds, even these flash flood warnings, even these winter weather alerts too as well, especially the blizzard warnings. So if you do live in any of those alerts, I would call your friends and let them know that it is going to be kind of dangerous today, especially if you live in the blizzard warnings or even the high wind warnings. So high wind warnings could even be more extreme than blizzard warnings, but we'll have to still watch very closely. But like I said, thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll do one tomorrow.